So here's often what happens. I don't know about you, but many times with my clients, they're happy enough in their marriage. Their needs aren't being met. They don't know how to ask for it. And so they go have an emotional affair to feel connected to someone. Sometimes there might be unresolved problems in a relationship with no ability to communicate. And then they go have an affair to avoid or numb, or again, take their mind off their problems. Sometimes, in some of my clients, they're living parallel lives until one partner finds someone who seems to care. And then that's when the affair happens. But oftentimes, you have a clue that your partner might be having an affair, but you don't address it. So you don't discuss your fear, your sadness, your hurt, your anger, and you just fester. That's not healthy. And then sometimes the secret is out, there are requests to stop, there's promises, hiding, lies. And that, of course, is toxic to the relationship. But sometimes the affair ends and one party isn't ready, willing, or able to forgive. And that's very sad because they protect themselves with their anger. We all have an inner child. Okay, this is corny, but hang in with me. We all have an inner child. And we exile the feelings of vulnerability, sadness, fear, and oftentimes either direction, but oftentimes women become codependent, men too, and they try to take care of everybody else, but not themselves. And men, women too, try to look cool, don't want to talk about their vulnerability. And then when their needs aren't being met, out come parts like this that are so angry and so defensive, but aggressive in the way they're defending themselves. So what we learn how to do is connect to our highest self, prayer, meditation, healing, journaling, knowing that you have a spiritual source inside of you. And we thank all your parts for the ways they're trying to protect us. And we invite them to trust our higher self to speak for the pain, the sadness, and the fear, and connect from our hearts. So that's a little aside that may help you understand a little bit more of what being in self means and having different parts. So instead of having parallel lives, people get stuck in their anger. And the reason they get stuck in their anger is because they don't have a place to process their feelings. And if you're in a relationship now and you don't have a place to process your feelings, reach out to me, reach out for therapy, and find a way to process them, because holding them in can be toxic. And then what you need to do is recognize that it takes a great deal of courage to talk about your pain, your sadness, your fear, because what you don't want to do is not grieve and just stay angry. And that happens so often because if there's been an affair, we're using an affair as an example, your dream of your first marriage is over. And what you need to do is grieve that dream, which is you've been in denial. If you were suspicious, you've tried to bargain a little bit to see if you could negotiate a different outcome. You might have gotten depressed. You might have gotten angry. And then you get to acceptance. But too often, we don't let ourselves grieve. So we just stay in the anger. And that's toxic for you. It's toxic for your future. And it's toxic if you have children for them. Because you can get divorced tomorrow. But if you don't learn how to forgive for your own sake, you stay stuck. And you stay stuck in this grief cycle, unwilling or unable to move through it. And you do feel like a victim. And sometimes that's a comfortable role. You know what it's like to feel a victim. You get the empathy from others. And instead, you can become the empowered hero of your life. And another thing that keeps people stuck and unable to heal is they're not willing to look at their own contribution to the demise of the relationship before there was an affair. So when there has been an affair, here's what needs to happen. The person that has the affair needs to end it, not put it on hold, not suspend it, not stay in kind of lesser contact. You need to end the affair. And if the person that you're having an affair with won't wait for you, it's better to know that now before you sacrifice your whole life. So you have to end the affair. You have to be willing to be transparent moving forward, meaning if your spouse wants to see your phone or your emails, that's just how it's going to be for a little bit. And you have to be willing to kind of be in the doghouse while your partner heals and begins to trust again. And your partner has to own their own contribution to the issues in the relationship before the affair. They have to be willing to forgive and do their own work to heal. And if you do that, you can start to heal from an affair. What needs to happen is you need to practice that compassionate communication where you be your best self, where you let go of your limiting beliefs and judgments, where you unburden pain from the past and you relate from the heart. You have to process your feelings. You have to find someone, a group, a therapist, a program where you can get through the pain that you're feeling and the outrage and the betrayal and the guilt and the sorrow. So find some place to process your feelings. And then you both have to grieve the old relationship. Your dreams of what that marriage could have been, should have been, are over. And I often say letting go of a partner is one thing, letting go of a relationship is the second, but letting go of that dream is really the hardest. So when the dream of the marriage you were supposed to have is shattered, you have to grieve it. And then you can create something new, no matter what form it takes in the future. So be open to that because it is possible. You may be feeling like you don't want to look at your partner, that you're angry, that you're guilty, that you're sad, that you're scared. But this is a great sculpture from Burning Man where your inner child is still yearning for affection, attention, appreciation, and acceptance. You're still yearning to feel connected and feel loved. So as you process your feelings and you have the courage to acknowledge that, yes, maybe we haven't been having sex for 7 years and I should have done something about that before. Or yes, maybe I've tolerated the infidelity in the past and now I'm changing, but I've enabled this behavior. Or yes, I knew there was some kind of addiction or mental illness, but I didn't want to address it because I didn't want to upset the apple cart. You have to acknowledge what you did or didn't do in order to create something new. And then do some deep healing. Heal the parts of you that are wounded, sad, scared, judgmental. Most important, be willing to forgive. And that forgiveness is a gift you give yourself because you have to forgive yourself and your partner. Now, forgiveness may not lead to you reconciling. It may lead to a new beginning. It may lead to a separation or a divorce. But whatever it leads to is going to be better when you forgive yourself and your partner. You also need to set boundaries. While you're healing, you may want to go to separate corners in your house and set some boundaries around how much you'll interact. You may need to separate for a while and figure out what a separation will look like. You may need to ask for what you need and be clear about what you don't want. Usually that's more beneficial when you do it with a third party who can help you stay in self-energy and make the changes you want to see. But setting boundaries is also part of healing. And then when you do that, you can go from heartache to hope to healing to happiness because you're going to be focusing on your new life. You're not going to focus on what your partner did. You're not going to stay in the pain and suffering, but you're going to balance. I often say balance the grieving and the healing. So definitely grieve what you've lost, but then create a possibility for a new future. And the more in self you are, the more you come from your calm, compassionate, clear, witnessing presence, your partner can turn around and see that you're still there. You're not walled. You're not going to stay angry forever. You're not going to keep looking at your partner through the filter of judgment or blame. And as you focus on being your best self, your partner can look back and see what he or she might be missing and recommit to a new relationship.